Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most significant military developments of the year, Zapad 2025, the massive joint military exercise launched by Russia and Belarus across the Baltic and Barents regions. This operation, known as Strike Command, marks one of the most extensive displays of power and coordination between the two countries in recent years. It's not just a military drill, it's a powerful political statement, a show of force, and a clear signal to NATO and the wider international community that Moscow and Minsk are tightening their military alliance like never before. Zapad, which means west in Russian, has always been one of the most closely watched military exercises conducted by Russia and its allies. Every 4 years, it serves as both a test of military readiness and a strategic message to the West. But Zapad 2025 is different. This time, the scope, scale, and timing are raising serious questions about its true intentions. With tensions already high in Eastern Europe and the Arctic, the presence of Russian warships in the Baltic Sea and Barents region adds another layer of complexity to an already fragile security environment. Reports indicate that over 200 000 troops are participating in this year's drills, supported by hundreds of aircraft, tanks, and naval vessels. What's particularly striking is the coordination between naval and air forces across multiple theaters. Russian and Belarusian ships are conducting live fire exercises, simulating anti-submarine operations and amphibious landings. Meanwhile, the Russian Northern Fleet is maneuvering in the Barents Sea, carrying out missile launches and strategic air patrols. These are not routine exercises, they resemble full-scale combat simulations designed to test joint command and control systems in real-time war scenarios. The exercises are being conducted under the banner of defensive readiness, but analysts around the world see them as a demonstration of offensive capability. NATO countries bordering the Baltic Sea, especially Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, are closely monitoring the maneuvers. Many officials have expressed concern that the drills could serve as a cover for more aggressive military moves, similar to how Russia used exercises in the past to mask troop deployments before the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. In other words, Zapad 2025 isn't just about training, it's about signaling intent and testing responses. What makes this year's Zapad even more symbolic is Belarus's deepened role. Since the political unrest of 2020 and the isolation of President Alexander Lukashenko by Western nations, Belarus has moved firmly into Russia's orbit. Joint operations like Zapad 2025 show just how integrated the two nations' military structures have become. Belarusian troops are now not only training alongside Russian forces, but also under Russian strategic command systems. This blurs the line between the two militaries and effectively turns Belarus into an extension of Russia's Western defense or offense, depending on your perspective. At the same time, the naval aspect of Zapad 2025 is raising eyebrows among Western defense analysts. The Baltic Sea, which has become increasingly militarized since Sweden and Finland joined NATO, is now the center of high-stakes naval maneuvers. Russian ships are operating dangerously close to NATO waters, conducting mock missile launches and anti-ship drills. Satellite imagery shows heavy deployment of advanced warships, including those equipped with Caliber cruise missiles capable of striking targets hundreds of kilometers away. The message is clear. Russia wants to remind Europe that it maintains control and dominance in these strategic waterways. The Barents Sea exercises, on the other hand, highlight Russia's focus on the Arctic. As global warming opens new shipping routes and exposes valuable natural resources, the Arctic is becoming a geopolitical hotspot. Russia's Northern Fleet has been expanding its presence there, constructing new bases and deploying submarines armed with nuclear-capable missiles. By combining Arctic maneuvers with Baltic operations, Moscow is demonstrating its ability to fight on multiple fronts from Europe's northernmost waters to its central borders. For Belarus, participating in such an expansive operation also has domestic and international implications. Lukashenko aims to show loyalty to Moscow and reinforce his control at home, but this alignment also risks further isolating Belarus from its Western neighbors. European leaders have already condemned the joint exercises, describing them as provocative and destabilizing. The European Union has called for restraint, while NATO forces have been placed on heightened alert, conducting surveillance flights and naval patrols to monitor the situation. Beyond the military symbolism, Zapad 2025 also serves as a test of Russia's logistical and technological capabilities after years of sanctions and war-related strain. The conflict in Ukraine has depleted much of Russia's conventional weaponry, forcing the country to rely heavily on its defense industry to replenish stocks. Conducting an exercise of this magnitude shows that, despite these challenges, Russia still has the resources and coordination to project power across vast regions. However, some experts argue that the drills could be as much about propaganda as actual preparedness, an attempt to showcase strength and stability to both domestic and international audiences. Inside Russia, state media is portraying Zapad 2025 as a symbol of unity and resilience. Television channels are showing footage of tanks rolling through forests, warships firing missiles, and fighter jets streaking across the sky. The narrative emphasizes defense, claiming that Russia and Belarus are protecting their sovereignty from NATO provocations. But outside that controlled narrative, analysts see it differently as part of a larger strategy to intimidate neighboring states and demonstrate that Russia remains a formidable power despite ongoing economic and political pressure. The timing of Zapad 2025 also coincides with political shifts across Europe. Several NATO countries are undergoing leadership changes, and debates over military spending are intensifying. By staging these exercises now, Russia may be trying to exploit divisions within the alliance and test its cohesion. For instance, the Baltic states have long warned that Russia's drills could quickly turn into real operations, and with forces already positioned near their borders, that concern is not unfounded. Meanwhile, the United States has reaffirmed its commitment to defending NATO allies, dispatching reconnaissance planes and deploying additional forces to Eastern Europe. The Pentagon has described Zapad 2025 as a calculated display of military intimidation. Washington's message is that any aggression against NATO members will trigger a unified response, yet the situation remains tense, and even a small miscalculation, a naval incident, an airspace violation, or a missile test gone wrong could spark a dangerous escalation. Ultimately, Zapad 2025 underscores the new reality of European security. The post-Cold War balance is gone, and a new era of confrontation has begun. Russia and Belarus are asserting their military might, while NATO is responding with increased readiness and coordination. The line between exercise and aggression has become blurred, and every maneuver carries potential consequences. Whether this show of strength will deter conflict or push the region closer to it remains to be seen. As the drills continue, global attention remains fixed on the Baltic and Barents Seas. Every move, every missile launch, and every naval deployment is being analyzed in real time by military experts and governments worldwide. Zapad 2025 is not just a military exercise, it's a statement, a warning, and perhaps even a rehearsal for future conflicts. It reminds us that in today's world, power is often displayed not through words, but through the movement of fleets, the roar of engines, and the echo of artillery across cold northern waters. And as the final phase of Zapad 2025 unfolds, one question looms large: is this truly a defensive drill, or is it a glimpse into Russia and Belarus's next move on the geopolitical chessboard? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world is watching closely.